So there's a crazy number, something like 1 out of every 250 resumes that is submitted actually turns into a job. So the chances are quite slim that you're actually getting a job through purely submitting an online resume. So why is that? I don't think it's because companies are not necessarily looking at your resume. I think, of course, there are some companies who check their inboxes every couple weeks, or maybe they skip your resume or whatever. But there are a lot of companies who will look at the resumes, they will skim through them, but then they move on to the next one, right? So why are they not interested in your resume? That's the big question. I think it comes down to one thing, and that's people don't really understand. So job seekers don't really understand what a company is looking for. And that's okay, because it's really hard to get that information sometimes. But I'm going to tell you guys what it is. So it's really just two things. So an HR manager is looking for, one, a list of specific keywords in your resume that match up to some preconceived idea or notion that they have about an ideal fit for this job, right? So maybe they're looking for someone that has online marketing experience, right? So if you don't have the word online marketing in your resume very specifically at the top, then they're probably just gonna pass and move on to the next person. The second thing they're looking for is a sense of culture fit. Do you fit with their values? And do you align with the other sorts of people that have a job there? So a lot of HR people think they have a window into your soul or personality by looking at your resume, which I think is generally bullshit. But there are still ways that you can sprinkle in that sense of culture or alignment with their values through your resume. So we'll go into that in a minute. How do you find out this information, right? How do you find out what keywords the company is looking for and how their values can be kind of represented in your resume? So there's two big things you can do. The first thing is leverage a recruiter to get feedback. So what does this mean? Now, recruiters are there to help, right? So when I'm talking about recruiters, I'm talking about an external kind of agency recruiter that's working with a company as one of their clients. So they know the hiring manager, they know what they're looking for if the recruiter has a good relationship with them, right? So what you can do is talk to the recruiter that is working with a company that you're interested in, and you can just ask them very, very directly, like, hey John, I'm really interested to apply to company X, and I would like to make sure that my resume looks really, really good for the HR person, hiring manager. Can you tell me what specific keywords to put in there that will attract them? And can you tell me exactly what it is they're looking for? So that way you can basically just take the recruiter's advice, who should, again, have a window into what's going on there, and then edit your resume, send it to the recruiter and say, look, can you give me feedback on the revised resume? And then edit it a bit, right? You might even have to completely redo your resume, but that might be necessary, right? So you can't just be sending the same resume over and over to different companies, because that's kind of an insane approach. It'll never work. You do have to edit and tailor your resume to every specific company. So number one, ask the recruiter, get their feedback on your resume, and redo it. What if you don't have access to an external recruiter that can give you this sort of feedback? That's okay. There's still a few things you can do, but you're gonna have to do your own online research. So there's three key areas that you wanna look at. The first place is company values. The second place is the job description. And the third place is current employees of the company you are interested in. So let's break those down. So first, the company values, right? So a lot of companies have values listed on their website or whatever online somewhere, and you can go and find those, right? And most of them are in slide deck form, or they have descriptions of kind of what those values mean. So for example, if you go on Amazon's website, it has a list of their 14 values, and one of them is ownership, right? So you can actually take that word and you can find a place to put it in your resume, very simply, right? So there's probably different ways that you can use that word. I took ownership of X project to meet the deadline, right? So when you put in that keyword, when you sprinkle it in, then you're establishing a sense of familiarity with whoever is reading it in the company. So whatever company you're applying to, find the values, pick out some keywords, and try and sprinkle them in your resume. The second thing you can do is you can look at the job description. Now this is probably the easiest one, right? So if you're applying for the job, you probably should have a job description, and it's going to have certain qualifications. Now take those qualifications and some of those keywords and put them in your resume, right? So if it requires experience having launched a marketing strategy, the word marketing strategy or having launched a marketing strategy should be in your resume somewhere. Obviously, if you have never done that, then don't make it up. But if you have launched a marketing strategy and you have phrased it in a different way, then just rephrase it. Now, the third thing you can do is really interesting, and I don't think most people do this, so this one could be quite a game changer for some people. What you can do is you can actually go on LinkedIn and you can find the profiles of people that actually work at the company you're interested in. So let's say I'm interested in applying to a job at Amazon. I can go type in Amazon and sales or Amazon and marketing into LinkedIn, and it's going to pop up with all the people that have those jobs. Then I can see what they're doing now at Amazon. I can see what they're doing, what they did previously, and then before that. And I can look at how they've actually structured their profile and their resume online. And I can get a sense of, oh, okay, Amazon is interested in this sort of person that has this sort of experience in engineering, or that phrases their words like this, right? And you'll actually tend to find some trends, right? So if you look at Amazon, a lot of people have the word go-to market or data analysis, right, in their resumes, and Amazon, finds those things quite important because they're very heavy on data analysis. So take a look at those people's profiles, and if you can't find a detailed profile on LinkedIn, what you can do is you can just actually type in the company name in Google and then resume afterwards. So company X and resume in the search phrase, and there's something like 40 million resumes floating around online. So you will very likely find someone who is working at the company that you want to work at, and they just have a resume online somewhere, right? So it's a little bit of a recruiter trick there, but it's free, it's legal. You can just look up people's resumes online there and use those keywords to help form your resume. And then that's going to make it look a lot more like a resume of someone that would actually work at the company. Now, there is a chance you can overdo this, right? So if you're just grabbing a bunch of words from other people's resumes and grabbing the company values and really just trying to make it look exactly like a resume of someone that actually works there, like that's not good, right? You want to be truthful, and you want to still obviously put all your experience that you've done, but it's really just about changing maybe certain key phrases and keywords that when an HR manager or a hiring manager looks at it, those words are going to pop out, right? When a company really describes themselves as a mission-driven company, right, and you put the word mission-driven in your resume, there's something that's going to tick in their minds, and they're going to go, oh, this guy's mission-driven, just like us, right? And it's little things like that where companies will really pick up on, and of course the actual tangible skills that you have in sales, marketing, engineering, and so forth. So this is a starting place. Resumes, like I mentioned, have a low success rate. So I think this will help increase the success rate, but it shouldn't be your only method of applying for a job, because it's still going to be quite a low chance that you get it. So really, I've talked a little bit about this before, but networking is really the way to go. Meeting people, reaching out to them directly, going to casual meetings, going to networking and career events is where you're probably going to get the most results. So combine that approach with making a really bomb-ass resume, and you are set to go.